Warning, this video is not meant for children. If you are a child, please click off this video and watch something else. Trust me, you'll be much better off without watching this video if you aren't comfortable with very disturbing topics. If you haven't seen the first part already, I advise you watch that. This one will make much more sense. For those of us brave enough to continue, let's go. Iceberg videos. Considering you're watching this video, I assume you know what an iceberg is. But if this is the first iceberg you've seen, then let me explain it to you. Icebergs are basically when you take a topic, list facts, opinions, or maybe even theories on it, and basically rank it by either obscurity or scariness. The first instance of this was the Super Mario 64 iceberg, and this is what started the trend. If you want to see that, go right ahead and check it out. So what does this have to do anything with videos? Well, like myself, people often make videos on these iceberg charts explaining them and what each entry means. That's basically it. My Snowboarding Skillz, but with a Z because that's very cool. My Snowboarding Skillz was the second video ever uploaded to YouTube. It features a man who's trying to do some sort of jump with a snowboard but ends up falling. Ouch. Marble Hornets. Marble Hornets is a horror series based around a guy named Alex who's obsessively filming himself because he's being stalked by a monster known as the Operator. The Operator is very similar to Slenderman, however I think the Operator is much more interesting. If you actually watch the series, you'll know why. If you are planning on watching the series, I suggest you skip this part and go on to the next entry, as I'm going to reveal a big spoiler here. So as it turns out, Alex starts off as our protagonist. However, as the series goes on, he slowly becomes the villain, and eventually joins the Operator's side. Then, the series takes place with another guy filming more tapes, except this guy's name is Jay, and instead of being stalked by the Operator, he's filming himself trying to solve the mystery behind the Operator. However, eventually gets hunted himself. The Operator is far more dangerous than any of us could have predicted. At first, this channel's tapes just seem like complete randomness. However, the more you watch, the more you realize that it all forms together into one big story. However, there are some videos that are kinda random, but we're not gonna include those. The series is very well made, similar to Local 58. If you want to watch it, I strongly advise you do. It's pretty creepy, but it has a perfect balance of scary and interesting. So, please check it out. Is it real? No, it isn't. But honestly, it's a very good watch. So check it out if you want.
Alex? Alex?
PilotRedSun.
What's that? You're going to get Doritos instead? Really now? You think you have the audacity to buy another brand of chips? You will regret that purchase.
PilotRedSun was a cartoonist on YouTube. Back then, his work could be considered scary or disturbing, but now it's just kind of a meme, especially the Garfield one, which I'm sure you all know, and I even used the background music from that, and I'm playing it right now. I love how I chose specific music just for this section. I love the Garfield video. Anyway, so PilotRedSun specializes in very low quality and poor animations, but that's just the magic of his channel. Sometimes the lower quality animations are better than some of the higher up ones. In a weird way, his videos are oddly hypnotic, and if someone watches their videos, they're gonna have two reactions. Either they're gonna be weirded out or horrified, and some will just find it really funny. I'm kind of a mixture of both of them. They're really funny, but at the same time, some of them can be kind of dark. although it's nothing like PT scary. It's just a little disturbing, some of the videos. But, again, PilotRedSun, that's the magic of his channel. I strongly advise you check it out if you have some free time. It's definitely feels like a weird acid trip. There is nothing. This is a very creepy art piece done by David Earl. It shows a woman sitting at the end of a dining table with fires in the background. She says something backwards and then slams her head into a bowl. It basically shows you, the person who's filming, sitting at the other end of the dining table, watching the flames in the background, and probably her dead body. You can see the flames start roaring in the background. And then all of a sudden, it seems the footage starts to go in reverse. And it slowly zooms back in on the woman, who eventually lifts her face out of the bowl and says,
"There is nothing."
I think the creepiest part about this video is you could put this video on loop, and if you didn't have audio, you probably could forget that you even have this on loop, because the video starts off normal, and then it reverses itself, and then ends. So what does this video mean? Well, I'm here to explain that. So basically, this is some sort of paradox situation. When the woman slams her head into a bowl, it's probably assumed that she dies, and eventually she comes back to life when it's reversed, and tells the viewer that there is nothing. This means that there is no heaven, and there is no hell. Just nothing. A blank void. Absolutely nothing. Kinda makes you question our existence. What is there after we die? Well, I think we shouldn't really focus on that, and focus on that only when we die. We should just live life, appreciate it, because a lot of people don't seem to do that. Well, I will say that this is a really good art piece, and definitely a good example of psychological horror. The Angry German Kid.
Scheiße! Du Hurensohn, ich werde dich umbringen!
The Angry German Kid, or Keyboard Crasher, was one of the first viral videos on YouTube. It featured a kid angrily yelling at his computer in German and smashing his keyboard against the table violently. And for a while, this was the #1 example that video games corrupt children's minds for parents. Now you're probably asking yourself, was this kid actually mental? Was he seriously this angry over a video game? Well, the answer is no, in a way. The whole thing was an act, so this whole Angry German Kid was actually just a character played by this person. The character's name was Leopold Slick. He was your standard gangster kid, really angry, was into drugs, and just all sorts of stuff. However, the real person, his last name I can't pronounce, but his first name is Norman. He was nothing like this in real life. Most people on the World Wide Web knew that he was just trolling, and knew that this whole Leopold character was just faked. However, people at his school really believed that Norman was like this, and so he was bullied relentlessly at school, which is why he stopped making these kind of videos. But here's a fact, the Angry German Kid isn't the only video with Leopold in it. There are several other videos if you didn't know. You could go check it out if you look up Leopold Slick on YouTube. You should find at least a few of them. At the end of the day, this whole Angry German Kid thing is fake. But it's still a really funny video. No matter how many times I watch it, I cannot stop laughing. Full stop punctuation. If you want to see some of the weirdest videos on the internet, this is where you go. Here, I'll show you a few examples and you'll see just how thought-provoking these videos really are. As I said before, you can see how thought-provoking those videos really are. But how do you get to these videos? Because they can't be recommended to you. Well, that's why this is so scary. Because if you type Arabic text or a period into the YouTube search bar, you can essentially break the YouTube algorithm. You can be shown videos that don't usually get recommended to people. You see, there's a glitch in YouTube that if you type a period or Arabic text into the search bar, you will get very strange results, especially if you add emojis in there. The more periods or emojis you type, the more disturbing and weird your results get. I would not recommend you do this at all. I'm just telling you that you can see some very messed up stuff if you continue to go further. I would say that just stick with one period and scroll down and see what you find. Usually it's just cringy memes or screamers or something like that. It's nothing really intense. However, if you type more periods, you can get some very disturbing results. So, please, for the sake of your sanity, and because you don't want to be traumatized, do not do this. Please just don't. If you want to know more about the topic, just look up full stop punctuation explained or Arabic YouTube explained. Maybe in the future I'll do a video where I do a full dive into this whole internet rabbit hole. But for now, I'm staying far away from this side of YouTube. The Yelling Creature. Get ready. This is the video that traumatized millions of kids worldwide. Are you ready to see it? Okay. Here it is.
No! No!
You're probably wondering, that's it? That's the video that scared so many people? Well, yes, it is. I couldn't tell you why this is scary. Maybe it's because of the annoying orange-esque realistic face on a claymation body. I don't know. I actually find this kind of funny. And there's even a Friday Night Funkin' mod on it, so go figure. This video was uploaded in 2006 by YouTuber Rob Herman. This was just one of many of his freakish projects. However, this was one of his first videos. But believe it or not, because of this video's popularity, he actually made 2 other versions. And I'll show them to you right now. One is Christmas themed, and the other is Halloween.
Ho, ho, ho. No! No!
Oh boy, we got a good one. TanaCon. Before it happened, it had been hyped as one of the most epic events in YouTube history. For the first time ever, a YouTuber would be holding a convention all about themselves for every fan to see. How could this possibly go wrong? Well, I'm here to tell you exactly what happened that day. It was around 70 or 80 days prior to the event, when YouTuber TanaMongo was banned from VidCon. The reason? She didn't want to give her featured creators a badge. And she was absolutely distraught by being banned from VidCon. But she had a realization. She could always host a meet and greet anywhere she wanted to. Tana teased the event on Twitter and said that it would happen in around June 22nd or 23rd in Anaheim, California. The first sign that something was wrong was when she was interviewed by a person. She stated that she had absolutely no planning for this event. The first red flag in this absolute garbage fire. And it was because of this that Tana wasn't expecting so many people to show up. The lines stretched on. They stretched on so long that they wrapped around car parks multiple times. It was an incredibly long line, possibly even longer than VidCon's lines. Tickets were oversold, fans were waiting outside for around a few hours, and were getting impatient. However, eventually, we're finally led into the event. Pretty soon, TanaMongo had a "this is fine" moment when the venue's capacity reached over its maximum level. Fans were mistreated, the event was very poorly ran, and it had been about 3 hours since the convention was first opened, and there were still ticket holders waiting outside. But this event was held in California, right? So this much waiting outside could only mean one thing: sunburns. Very, very bad sunburns. It was an incredibly hot summer day, and people were still waiting outside, getting badly burned. There was an indoor area of this convention. However, there was really nothing to do there but just walk around, since there was nowhere to sit, nowhere to eat, nowhere to drink. No food, no water, no seating areas were provided, leaving most people to just have to wait outside. As it turns out, there were only 150 meet and greet spots available in the indoor, meaning that a lot of people would have to just wait outside and most people wouldn't get to meet Tana. Due to the insanity of the event, security decided on something. They would close off the indoor area, and anyone who entered could not exit, because if they did, they wouldn't be allowed to re-enter. It was absolute chaos. 6 hours had passed, 6 long hours in the hot sun, until Tana Mongu eventually admitted defeat and called the fire department to officially close the event down. That's right, there were over 20,000 people waiting outside for 6 hours in the hot California sun, all for nothing. Over 90% of the people didn't even get to see Tana, so at the end of the day, it really wasn't worth it. But here's the icing on the cake. Technically, people did see Tana, but they just didn't get to meet her like they planned. She came out to kind of calm the crowd down when they were raging about this, understandably. Tana was admittedly not doing much good though, as her reputation had already been shattered. But eventually, in defeat, everyone left the event, sunburnt, angry, and disappointed. Was Tana immediately apologetic? Did she go online and immediately apologize for what she did? Well, yes, but not exactly. You see, she went silent for about 3 days before actually addressing the problem. She was apologetic though, but did a lot of people accept her apology? Well, there were people who accepted her apology, because there always are those fans. But most people weren't buying it, saying unsubscribe from her YouTube channel until refunds are given. But it wasn't only fans that were enraged by this. It was also other content creators, mainly Shane Dawson. He would eventually go out to interview Tana to see exactly what happened and what went wrong. There are 3 videos that explain this, so go check them out if you have some free time. But really, what I was surprised on is that Tana took full responsibility for this and was incredibly remorseful and apologetic. She took full responsibility for her actions, which is something I don't see often in YouTubers, so I respect that. Eventually, Tana took a 1-month break from social media. When she came back, all the requested refunds were processed, and eventually, this whole event was in the past. But that doesn't mean people would forget about it. Oh no. This event is still iconic. It is still known as one of the biggest failures in YouTube history, and I can agree with that. Imagine waiting outside in the hot sun for 6 hours hoping to see someone who you really love, but at the end of the day, it never happens. That's gotta suck. I feel bad for everyone who attended this event and had their hopes crushed. I hope that the world made it up to you. YouTube channel hijacking. There is a chance that unprotected channels can get completely taken over by hackers. They can upload whatever they want, do whatever sort of changes they want to your videos, and there's nothing you can do about it. So please, if it's there, do the 2-step verification. It's much more helpful and will protect your account from these pesky hackers. Poochee and Pansy. Poochee and Pansy is an ARG and horror series based on 2 Microsoft Paint dogs trying to rescue a kitten from an area known as Sufferdark. The actual series itself is pretty self-explanatory, just 2 dogs trying to rescue a kitten from an evil witch. But the story behind this whole ARG is much different. The ARG most likely takes place in some sort of dystopian future. Mobile homes are disappearing, people are being eaten by creatures, and apparently, the viewer of the series is the last human on Earth, but they do not know it. Everyone else isn't real. It's all a simulation. Pretty generic plot, but whatever. I really don't know how this whole ARG is connected to this cartoon. I don't know what the Poochee and Pansy series really has anything to do with the actual story, but whatever. I would say watch the series for yourself, but it has a lot of screamers in it, so if you don't like that, then watch out. If you want an in-depth, detailed explanation, go to Scare Theater's video on Poochee and Pansy. It's very well made and very formal. Since I don't really know much about this series, I've only watched it like 1 time. 2020 Vision. Imagine a YouTube channel that could accurately predict deaths long before they actually happened. This is what 2020 Vision was. an ARG about some sort of cult called the Pink Eye. Pretty funny name if you ask me. Well, anyway, this channel would upload videos that show 3 characters: a month, a day, and a year, which was always 2020. This channel was able to predict many celebrities' deaths in the year 2020, including Kobe Bryant himself. Rest in peace, Kobe. It was pretty scary. A channel that could accurately predict deaths. Was the creator some sort of time traveler? Could they see through the future? Could they know exactly what would happen next year? No. As it turns out, the whole thing was fake. But I will say, the creator is incredibly clever for how they faked this. You see, in 2017, they just took a whole bunch of C and D-list celebrities and kind of organized them all. They had an animation with the eye that would show every month, every day, and every year, well, every year from 2018 to 2020. So what they do is when the celebrity would actually pass away, they would crop out a section so it would show 1 month, 1 day, and 1 year. They'd make the video unlisted so they can edit it at any given time, and when the celebrity passed away, they'd make it public. It was as simple as that, but it was incredibly complex. I could just imagine how long it took to set up this channel. AlanTutorial. AlanTutorial is a multi-episode series that features around a semi-deranged man doing the weirdest tutorials out there. Like seriously, these tutorials are very oddly specific. Like one of the most popular videos on this channel is literally called How to Pick Up a Blue Chair. Yeah, I don't think that'd work on a red one. However, you may think it's just nonsensical tutorial videos. However, if you watch them all, they actually form into some sort of series. And at the very end, Alan is being captured by some sort of figure, or figures. And his last video is him escaping that room and running, while repeating, "What's up, tutorial heads?" It's a very well-made series, but I do have to say it is fake. The series was created by a man known as Alan Resnick, who, after gaining a lot of notoriety from the series, decided to go and work for Adult Swim, where he'd create one of the most infamous horror shorts of all time. This house has people in it. Loituma Onion Smash. Loituma Onion Smash is a very weird parody based on a very popular video in the early 2000s. That video is basically just an animated woman spinning a leak and happily singing a song. Loituma Onion Smash was a parody of that video. It basically showed what should have happened if she was spinning that leak so many times. The results obviously don't turn out so well, as you can see in the footage, as her face is mangled by the leak, which was spinning at a very rapid rate. The funny thing is that this video was supposed to be humorous, but it ended up freaking out a lot of kids. I will admit though, the video has a pretty weird vibe to it. It's not necessarily scary, because, let's be honest, we've all seen much, much worse than this. This doesn't even come close. But I will say that this video does give off a weird aura. Just kind of makes you feel a little uncomfortable. But it's nothing severe. Leafy's termination. I'm sure you know who Leafyishere is. He's one of the most infamous commentary channels of all time. On August 21st of 2020, Leafy's channel was terminated, which basically means that he was kicked off of YouTube. His channel was deleted, and he was never allowed to upload another video again. But why was he terminated? Well, he was terminated for many reasons. However, the main reason is intense cyberbullying, which if you know Leafyishere, you will definitely know about all that. Whether you're a fan of his channel or not, you have to say, you saw it coming. Struck by a tornado. The date was April 9th, 2015. In Franklin Grove, Illinois, a tornado begins to form. A very huge tornado. Miles away, in a different town, a woman notices the tornado forming in the distance. This woman is 67-year-old Geraldine Scholes. She calls her husband, Clarence, also known as Clem, into the kitchen, and the two of them watch the tornado through the window. Now, tornadoes are a pretty common occurrence in this town, so the couple didn't really think anything of it. Clem stated that the tornado would miss them and would head east instead of their direction. But, as we'll soon find out, he couldn't be more wrong. The tornado could be classified as an EF4. Its wind speeds were much faster than 200 miles per hour. Clem looked out the window while on his way to get some lanterns in case of a power outage and noticed the storm. It was the largest storm the area has ever seen, so he quickly pulled out his phone and began to film the tornado from his window, still certain that the tornado would head east. This is the horrifying footage that Clem captured on his phone. Mere seconds after that video was filmed, Clem's house was ripped apart by the tornado, absolutely destroyed, and Clem and his wife would be buried in the rubble. However, miraculously, Clem had actually survived the tornado. He slowly climbed out of the rubble, battered and bruised, but still alive. Unfortunately, however, his wife did not survive. This story is amazing and heartbreaking at the same time. Amazing because Clem managed to survive this whole thing, even though his house was torn to shreds. But obviously heartbreaking because his neighbor and wife died. Rest in peace to them. They will get a moment of silence at the end of this video. Just a heads up, these last few entries are very, very disturbing. If you are sensitive to very disturbing stuff, then I suggest you either skip ahead to the outro or get off this video entirely. And if you are sensitive to the stuff, I would advise that you stop watching this series, as the entries are only going to get more and more disturbing as the series goes on. Thank you for your understanding. Bystander effect. What you just watched was a possible kidnapping, caught by a Ring doorbell camera. I don't really know anything about this video, considering it was just taken from the news and uploaded on YouTube. Police tried with this case, but ended up giving up. This took place in 2019, so it's most likely that we won't be getting any updates on this case, which is probably the most horrifying part. I think that the part that infuriates me the most is that the people just stood there and watched, not really doing anything, not trying to take action to prevent the kidnapping, or maybe even just call the police, because apparently the police were notified a day later. Next entry. Are you sure?
Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? What? Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? Are you positive? Are you sure? I just have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? Are you positive? I just have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? Are you positive? Are you sure? Are you absolutely certain? Sure.
I know what you're thinking. Oh, that's probably just some crackhead going up to someone's door and trying to get their attention. Well, let's just say this person wanted to do a bit more than just get their attention. See, that man's name was Christopher Sums. Before this, he was charged with robbery and assault, making him technically a criminal before this even happened. So basically, the story is a woman was awaiting the return of her husband, who was at work, when all of a sudden, Christopher comes up to her door and begins knocking and talking to himself. The Ring camera starts recording and catches all of this on camera. The woman was completely out of Christopher's sight, so it's kind of scary how he even knew there was a person in there. After rambling nonsensically for a little bit, Christopher eventually tries the door. It's locked, so in defeat, he turns around and walks away. Until the woman's husband decides to confront Christopher. Using a microphone on the Ring camera, he talks to Christopher. Christopher, in shock, turns around and goes back to the camera. The husband asks why Christopher's there, and in such a calm and matter-of-fact way, he states exactly why he's at the door. And it's nothing short of horrifying.
What? Yeah? Are you sure?
Who are you?
Hey, I just had a couple questions. I just wanted to ask you about maybe show. Yeah, can you hear me? What I'm looking for is for the girl that's in the house to come out here because I'm going to rape her and kill her. Can you have her open the door? I'm going to rape and kill the girl that's on the other side of this door when she lets me in.
I couldn't imagine how the husband would react hearing that. But do you want to know what the worst part is? This was actually planned. He reveals that he does have the weapons and the materials to do so. I'll play the clip right now.
I want to rape her and kill her because I have a knife and a gun. Yeah, and I'm going to knock on her door again.
Now, I'm not sure if this guy actually did have the weapons or not, but if he did, then I can easily tell you that this is one of the most horrifying videos I've ever seen on YouTube. The video went viral. It even went on the news. But thankfully, a couple days after, Christopher Sums was arrested. And this guy's mugshot can send chills down the spine of even the bravest of souls. Take a look for yourself. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the mugshot and a screenshot from the footage. All I can say is that I'm very glad that this woman or her husband wasn't hurt by this guy. And I'm glad that he's behind bars. Before we end off this video, I would like to just give a quick moment of silence to everyone who passed away in this video. Alright. That's it for the moment of silence. Rest in peace. So there you have it. The YouTube Iceberg Part 2 is finally finished. Before I move on to Part 3, I will be making around 2 or 3 more major videos on this channel. So sorry to you fans of the YouTube Iceberg. It's probably not going to be worked on until like March or April. So, if you're a member of the channel Discord, you will probably know the next major videos I'm working on if you read the community channel on the server. But for those of you who are just watching on the YouTube channel, I'll just let you know the next major video I'm working on. I'll just be reading some stories from r/2sentencehorror, one of my favorite subreddits out there. I also have a lot of ideas for videos, but not really sure what to do with them. Like, for example, I have lots of Plants vs. Zombies and DDLC video ideas, but I'm not really sure how I'm going to execute them. So yeah, I guess those will just be on hold for now, but if I get a good idea, it might bump its way onto the schedule that I'm making. So yeah, thank you for watching if you stuck around for this long. I just want to thank my biggest followers before I head out. Toaster, Soldat, H2O Cameron, Domiar, Nenefun, Crapbag, Business Cat, and CEO of Lazy. Thank you all for sticking around and joining the channel Discord. I'm very glad that you are all long-term fans of my channel, something that I never expected I'd have. Thank you all, and have a great day, afternoon, or night.